You can also see fire crews are still out here, and it's all because of this tree that split in half and fell on top of this house. This is actually where President Donald Trump stood earlier today, and he actually turned this dirt right in front of me, hoping to turn the page on a project he says would have never happened had he not become president. But you can see this truck now has been crushed partially by this roof. If you look up top, you can see the nails where the wood completely split off. Others in this neighborhood, as you can tell, were not so lucky. Take a look at this damage. People are now starting to pull out all of the things that were underwater or floating in their homes. These brazen teens are walking right into your garage and driving your car out. But in other cases, they're going a step above. They're breaking into your home, grabbing your keys, and then stealing your car. Those neighbors say it sounded like a sonic boom when that explosion went off, but I want to show you something. You can see behind me where that house once stood. We're now 7 hours into this investigation, and Middleton police are still out here on the scene. Crime scene tape still up surrounding this house where that woman was found dead. As you can tell by the giant hole, that big chunk of ice headed right for Belton's 7-year-old daughter, who was sitting right here. This is just one house. I want to quickly get over to this cul-de-sac here. You can see it is every house here. When police say a car drove up the road, somebody inside rolling down the window and pointing a paintball gun outside of it. But this morning, while out on a call, something unexpected happened. He was choked out. It's a city that is partially underwater.
These are people's lives floating around in here.
Street after street, home after home, flooded.
Absolute devastation for these people.
Jason Field drove in a couple of his Dell's Army duck boats to help about 24 hours ago.
We're ready to do any type of water rescues that were needed.
Thankfully, none were, but his duck boat took us to where cars wouldn't last. Boats driven on water where cars once traveled. Walls and rooms once dry, now filled with water. Some looked on in despair at what was happening around them. Other families rushed against time, sandbagging their homes, but for some, it didn't help.
Everything's in there. I barely got anything out of there. I got my pets out, my 2 vehicles, but that's my other vehicle over there.
Martha Holston can't fathom what she's lost.
Terrible feeling. Medicines are lost, clothes are lost, pictures, memories, everything.
Across town, others prep for more rising water, piling sandbag after sandbag as roads continue to close. This raging and rising Baraboo River has now shut down this bridge that goes through downtown Reedsburg. And Sauk County officials say it won't crest until tonight, and it won't begin to recede until sometime tomorrow morning. Relief that can't come soon enough for Martha and her neighbors.
We'll bounce right back.
In Reedsburg, Hunter Sáenz, 27 News.
It's a troubling reality. Wisconsin has one of the highest youth suicide rates in the nation.
Tonight, Hunter Sáenz is digging deeper into the numbers and shares why a simple conversation with your kids could help turn them around.
Time. It's something we're all up against.
Not a day goes by that I don't think about him.
For some, it expires too soon. For others, like 14-year-old Jacob Ellefson,
And it just seemed like everything just exploded.
time ended abruptly.
The date was June 7th of 2012. We were to leave on a family vacation at noon.
His parents, Terry and Kurt Ellefson, remember the day vividly.
At 10:41 that morning, I got a call at work and asked me to come home.
When she got to the family's home in Monroe, she found the gun cabinet was broken into.
He didn't show us any signs. It wasn't on my radar that he was thinking about hurting himself.
Up the stairs and in his room, Jacob was found dead. He had killed himself. His parents still wonder why.
I think he had depression and he hid it very well from us, not knowing how to ask for help. We just assumed everything was okay because it looked like it was okay.
It's a difficult topic.
Jean Papaleo works in suicide prevention.
I know a lot of parents say, oh, it's really difficult to talk to a teenager, but how often do you give them your undivided attention?
Without it, Papalia warns children and teens could feel isolated and alone, one of the largest risk factors that leads to suicide.
Well, we're seeing a climb overall, across the board.
According to the Wisconsin Office of Children's Mental Health, youth suicide rates in our state have doubled from 2007 to 2015.
It's a tragedy.
Though it's a nationwide reality. In the latest data by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, suicide is also the second leading cause of death for youth ages 10 to 17.
If we keep letting it slip by, it's just unacceptable.
For the past decade, Wisconsin's youth suicide rates have been higher than the national average.
Why are we continuing to see these numbers climb?
That's the million-dollar question. I wish I had the answer for that. It's not going to be any one thing, it's going to be many things.
The CDC lists bullying, family history, mental illness, and sexual orientation as leading risk factors. Papalia says parents, though, can lead the charge in preventing youth suicide.
Asking open-ended questions. Tell me more. How did that make you feel? How's that working out for you? Let me know how it goes tomorrow, following up the next day. How are things going with that? Is it working out?
And for those who know their child has thought of suicide, experts say you should have those tough conversations, something the Ellefsons wish they had the chance to do.
You're never guaranteed a tomorrow with anyone.
Tough conversations that could grant us more time before it abruptly ends for yet another child.
The Ellefsons started a foundation called Jacob Swag, standing for Support with Awareness and Giving. It's now their mission to save other children from taking their own lives. Forget the wood.
I was tipped off on Thursday of last week.
Lieutenant Tim Paragoy and his officers are wondering how much wire could a woodchuck chuck when a woodchuck does chuck wire.
It definitely was a surprise.
Officer Kristen Henderson was one of 8 victims whose personal cars were targeted by the bandit.
And I started my car and all of the lights came on my dashboard.
She and others took their cars in and mechanics knew it had to be a rodent. And sure enough, when police looked at surveillance video, they captured their suspect. This woodchuck seen going from one car to the next.
The woodchuck was too big to get under the hoods of the cars, but it had no problem chewing the wires from underneath the vehicles, causing some officers $500 to repair.
Not cheap, no.
A pest control service put out traps, and on Friday they caught the criminal. This furry fellow's mischievous days were over. And after an investigation, these officers found the reason this woodchuck targeted only foreign cars, not American-made patrol cars.
Foreign cars were using soy-based lubricants on their insulation to their wires, and woodchucks they naturally eat soybean.
A costly snack, but thankfully a case closed.
I'm just hoping we got him and got the right one and there aren't any more, but we'll see, I guess.
In Madison, Hunter Sáenz, 27 News.
Great story, Hunter getting down and dirty there. The groundhog was safely and humanely taken and released to a better habitat.
Officers say since the woodchuck was trapped, they haven't had any other reports of car wires being eaten. It is that time of the year again. Romantics around the world are getting ready to celebrate Valentine's Day.
But for those of you who are longing for love, we've got just the story for you. Hunter Sáenz introduces us to a couple who has been quite successful at it, and new at 10, they're telling you their secret.
I love to tell the story.
It's something nearly everyone has.
Ooh, I love him.
Or longs for.
I wouldn't want to be without her.
A love story.
Been together all these years. We've done lots of things together.
But for 87-year-old Janet and 90-year-old Norm...
If you're mad at me, it's usually Norman.
Their life in matrimony spans nearly 7 decades.
This year it'll be 68 years. It's wonderful.
The flirting began in the late 1940s with young Norm asking a gutsy question at the old Turner Hall in Madison.
He came up and asked me to dance. She was in the back hallway with her old boyfriends.
But this tap dancer didn't know how to waltz.
Well, she says, I'm not an old-time dancer, but I'll try. So I dragged her out on the floor, and I'll go near partner and order the same, and take your corner lady and waltz promenade.
That dance twirled into a lifelong partnership on and off the dance floor. Norm eventually got down on one knee, and wedding vows soon followed.
June 17th, 1950. You were 20 years old.
No, I looked like I was only about 17.
They would welcome 9 children over the years, living a traditional Wisconsin farm life.
We didn't think about going out doing this or that by ourselves. We did everything together. We raised our kids and our family, and we didn't do things separately.
But health scares nearly separated them for good.
There was 2 different times in health things that they didn't think I was going to live.
They're both lucky.
Janet had quadruple bypass surgery, and Norm's epilepsy triggered a severe seizure.
I was praying to God, no, don't take him away. We've been together all these years. Don't ruin it.
Thankfully, he didn't, and these lovebirds are still singing, still kissing.
We both got no teeth. And
there, we made it.
And, well,
your sex life will change when you get that old.
It's something we weren't expecting to hear, but the adoring couple did offer some advice for others longing for a similar journey.
You got to give and take.
You've got to be able to participate in each other, talk to each other, think about what this person wants, what that person wants, and think about, okay, what can we do together?
And together, each day, as they reminisce on their nearly 70-year-old marriage, they're humbled knowing their love novel won't end until death do us part.
We kind of agreed all of our life that the only separation we would want would if one of us had to die and wait till the other one would die and come with us.
A love so pure.
Have everything I would want to live with.
2 hearts bound for each other in a love story that will live on in the hearts of others. In Cottage Grove, Hunter Sáenz, 27 News.